which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning. All right. We have some service recognitions. We have Al Smith, 25 years of service for our county. Al, thank you very much for your service. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then we have Dennis Landis. We have 5 years. Dennis, thank you for your service. We
Seems like
appreciate it.
longer, doesn't it?
You only got 20 more to go.
Thank you for all your hard work.
Before you get an envelope like Al's.
That's right. All right, moving on to item number 1.
I'll make a motion to correct and approve the minutes for the November 22nd meeting with the motion that to ratify and or approve the following cash disbursements. The last cash disbursement, am I correct? The last cash disbursement on journal for net wages needs to be omitted from there.
Last line. I'll second that with that change.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, with the stated change. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Item 2.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 2 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, approve item 2 on the agenda, approve the cash disbursements, electronic payments. Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. So carried. Item 3.
Make a motion to approve item number 3 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, approve item 3, ratify or approve the following similar travel requests and or payments. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So carried. Item 4.
Make a motion to approve item number 4 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, approve item 4 on the agenda to ratify and accept with regret the resignation of Ashley Wilson from the Corrections Officer. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
And 5.
Make a motion to approve item number 5 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, approve item 5 on the agenda, approve transfer of Levi Schmidt from part-time corrections officer to full-time. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so carried. Item 6.
Make a motion to approve item number 6 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, approve item 6 on the agenda to ratify and acknowledge the hiring of Allison Montone of Brackney to the open full-time union position for civil criminal clerk, 40 hours per week, per the recommendation of Sheriff Lance Bender. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Item 7.
Make a motion to approve item number 7 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, approve item 7 on the agenda, to ratify and acknowledge the hiring of Janelle DeJess of Peckville to the open full-time union position of Deputy Sheriff, 40 hours per week. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Item 8.
Make a motion to approve item number 8 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, to approve item 8 on the agenda, to acknowledge the transfer of Canberra Ellie Springville, out of Springville, to the union full-time position of Director of Domestic Relations. Why is this? Effective. I thought we took those off. So we should have come off here though, right? All right. Questions or comments? Yes.
What, did you create a temporary director of relations
Yeah,
at the last salary board?
Yeah, yeah. So she's going from the temp to the
Yep.
full-time. All in favor?
Aye.
Item 9.
Make a motion to approve item number 9 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, to approve item 9, transfer of $29,913 from Marseilles Marcellus Legacy Fund to the General Fund for Agricultural Land Preservation. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Item 10.
Make a motion to approve item number 10 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, approve item 10 on the agenda, adopt the 2018 Susquehanna County budget in the amount of $32,413,675.78. Questions or comments? Yes.
Are there any major changes or shifts in the budget this year?
Only, I mean, everything goes up, of course, but one shift downward was the ARC for the pension fund. 2017 it was $750,000. Now it's reduced next year to $250,000, and hopefully the following year it should go to zero. So that means that we won't have to put any local tax dollars into the ARC anymore.
And so what are you doing with that found money?
Well, it helps to pay for all the other increases, the increases in health insurance costs, and the increases in the electric, the gas, and everything else that we get.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
So it's basically just spread throughout the budget?
Yeah,
Okay.
covers all the other
Enough.
additional costs. Item 11.
Make a motion to approve item number 11 is listed on our agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, approve item 11, to enter into a maintenance agreement with Gaia Communications, 23A, for the maintenance of the 124i telephone system at the recycling center. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Item 12.
Make a motion to approve item number 12 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, approve item 12 on the agenda, enter into service agreement between Frontier Communications, Rochester, New York, and Susquehanna County Correctional Facility for a period of 1 year for service of the phones at 209-02 a month. Questions or comments? Yes.
Does the correctional facility experience any of like the outages and things from Frontier? Like, I know other customers, Frontier customers, are
Yeah.
basically South Metro, you know,
Yep.
South Metro South especially.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did the county investigate moving to like a VoIP system or?
While we've looked at other systems to try and use, the other problems that we have is the internet service through there is not that great either. So that's a huge problem for us too. We did try to do some voice over IP, and that was a problem. So we had to switch back. You know, some of the phones we use to connect between us and them, we've had to use the regular Frontier lines also.
I mean, you have some of these cell carriers now who are providing like really fast
Right, but the
internet service.
Right, but the cell coverage is extremely slim down there too.
All right.
So, but we are looking into it, and
I got service
and
there.
hopefully as they get more infrastructure down through there, it'll get better. And if we ever can get to the dark fiber lines going through the county, then that'll make it a little faster for them also. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Item 13.
Make a motion to approve item number 13 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, to approve item 13 on the agenda, enter into a maintenance and support agreement with Creative Info Systems, Manchester, New Hampshire, for the county recycling system for a period of January 1st, 18 through December 31st at $995. Questions or comments? And that's the software for tracking the tonnage and everything. All in favor?
Aye.
Item 14.
Make a motion to approve item number 14 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, approve item 14 on the agenda, to enter into a maintenance agreement with Reed's Generator Service for the annual maintenance on 7 county generators. Questions or comments? Yes.
Is that an annual rate?
Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 15.
Make a motion to approve item number 15 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, to approve item 15 on the agenda, to enter into the agreement with Tyler New World our main for computer-aided dispatch software at a rate of $324,937 per year effective December 13th. And that's for our 911 center. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Item 16.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 16 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, approve item 16 on the agenda to reappoint George Connor, Bill Kelly, and Deborah Dissinger to the Susquehanna County Economic Development Advisory Board from January 18 through December 2020. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
17.
Make a motion to approve item number 17 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, set the millage for year 2018 for Susquehanna County as follows: 10.50 mils for general real estate for the general fund, and 0.33 mils for the library fund. Total millage for real estate at 10.83 mils. Questions or comments? Yes.
Is this the same millage rate as last year?
It's the same millage rate it's been since 2005.
But again, there is no Act 13 reduction.
No. No Act 13 reduction. All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 18.
Make a motion to approve item number 18 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold to approve item 18, approve the attached 2018 miscellaneous compensation schedule. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any public comment on the Commissioners meeting? Yes.
Since you brought up Frontier, several months ago you mentioned that, like after we experienced the widespread power outage, that several of the Frontier outposts had no battery backups. Thereby, how was that resolved? 'Cause I don't think we ever revisited
Yeah,
that.
they've been working on it. They've been upgrading the batteries, and some locations they've been looking into putting generators in. So they have been addressing them and improving them. And I'd have to check with our public safety people to see how far along they are right now. But they have been doing quite a bit of work, to correct that problem. Any other questions? Any more, Scoop?
Probably, but geesh.
Vera's not here to keep us going.
All right, item 20.
Make a motion to close the Commissioners' meeting at 9:13.
It's 9:13.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I figured if I came late, I needed to bring a bride.
You gonna second that?
Yes, I'll second that.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Warren,
Excuse
second by
me.
Commissioner Arnold, close the Commissioners' meeting and move to the,
Okay, I have something I need to ask you about or tell you about, but I'm not sure when I do that. It's something to do with the county.
okay, well, now would be good.
Okay. I'm Sheila Petrachko. I live in Lennox Township.
Okay,
In 2016, Cabot drilled a gas well. They say 4,811 feet from my property line, okay, from my well. And that was in January. 4 to 6 weeks later, in March of 2016, I was leaving for work, and as I was leaving for work, I had a sinkhole open up in my driveway. Okay, I now have 3 sinkholes, and I have trees sinking into my ground. I have 22 piers underneath my mobile home that are tipping. I've had 3 water tests done. One was done by Chief because they're gonna be 3,000 feet from my water well. Okay, they found the sodium in my water to be 25.9 milligrams. Okay, so I hired a gentleman to test my water individually, and that cost me $1,550. He told me 3 weeks. Well, 3 months later, I finally got my test results, and he came back at 16.6. 17.6, I'm sorry. And then DEP came out for the 5th time, okay, and they tested my water, and they have my sodium at 19.5. The safest milligrams you should have in your water to drink if you don't have a high blood pressure or a sodium problem is 20. I've had 3 different water tests with 3 different sodium amounts. I have, like I said, 3 sinkholes in my property, which are only 10 feet from 800-foot water well. I have 2 hemlock trees that are sinking into my ground. 1 tree has sunk 6 inches over 6 months. I've had DEP out there. DEP has told me from the get-go, let's see, the first time my ground was just settling. The second time, the sinkholes were possibly woodchuck holes, which I hired an exterminator to come out and set kill traps up. And he laughed at me. He said, first of all, why would a woodchuck dig a hole in the middle of your driveway? He said, and the hole is so big, a bear couldn't dig it. I just keep getting the runaround from DEP. DEP keeps telling me they didn't do it. Cabot, I've gone up to Cabot. I've met with a lady up there. The first time I went up there, last March, I went to Newswatch 16 and they did a story when I only had the 1 sinkhole. And she called me into the foyer, like the room off the foyer, and she said to me, we didn't do it, and she's drawing on the board and she's banging on the board and she's saying, we didn't do it. We drilled thousands of feet into the ground and there's no way possible that we did it. Why do you think we did it? And I told her something happened. There was no other activity in the area, okay, except for this gas well being drilled. And so then she's erased the board and she's tapping on the board and screaming at me again. So I left. And then I go back second time with pictures, and I said, you at least need to sit down and talk to me and look at these pictures. Something happened to my property. The property is becoming worse. My home is now being affected. She won't look at my pictures, and she said to me, if you think we did it, you get an attorney. Well, good luck in getting an attorney, because I've talked to probably 5 of them, and nobody will touch it. I couldn't even get a structural engineer to come out to tell me that my house is safe to live in. I have cracks in my ceilings. The molding is starting to overlap. Like I said, I have piers in the front of my trailer, which there's 22 of them. They were state inspected because that was required, that they are tipping forward. And I put in a new shower, and it has literally moved 2 to 3 inches out of the corner. The tile floor and my carpet, my master bedroom and bathroom are separated. You can see where the separation is in the floor. I got a mirror with a ceiling fan over my dining room table, and it's literally pulling away from the ceiling.
How long have you lived there?
Over 10 years.
And how old is the home that's on there?
I believe it's a 1999 mobile home.
Single wide or double wide?
It's a single with an addition.
And what's your name?
Sheila Petrachko. We put a pool building up 6 years ago, a 50 by 60 pool building, 2 years before my husband died. Okay, they put it on solid rock. It was just a solid rock. Because I called my insurance company. My insurance company finally sent out a structural engineer, which I didn't want to have them involved because I'm afraid they're going to drop me. Anyway, when a structural engineer came out to look at my house and my building, and he says I have 4 or 6 trusses in my building that are starting to bulge. This building's only 6 years old. The building's moving. And you could literally use a board and a half to close off the one side of the building, like the bottom of it. Right now, you couldn't even get a board there. And I couldn't mow my backyard. I literally couldn't mow from the building to my backyard, right? Because there was such an incline. And now I can literally take my lawnmower and drive it around the building. And the ground is literally moving. Mm-hmm. And you'll see my whole front yard is tipped. My driveway's a mess. My driveway just has a big belly in it where where these sinkholes are. And I know the first sinkhole has to be over 8 feet deep, and that's as far as I can get a measuring tape to go down into it. And then I hit rock. Okay, the piers that are being affected in my home are right in line with these 3 sinkholes that I have. The third sinkhole opened up when a guy bought my son's truck, and he pulled the truck forward, backed it up, and the garage just opened up underneath his truck. I called DEP about that. You know what they said to me? Because it's not in a new location, we ain't coming back out. Like I said, they're telling me that my water is 19.5% milligrams of sodium in it, right? Well, their safety standard's 20, so I can drink it because I got that 0.5%. I haven't drank my water in over a year, nor have I cooked with it. I'm bathing in it, but I haven't drank it. And Cabot has sent guys out the first time in March when the first sinkhole opened up. They sent 2 guys out They measured from my water well head to the sinkhole, which was 10 feet, and then from the sinkhole out to the end of my driveway, which is 200 and some feet, and that was it. They never came back. They won't look at my pictures. They won't talk to me. I've talked to people. Like I said, I've gone to Cabot. Last time I was up at Cabot, we met with Vince. Okay, he's a landman, I guess, or whatever. Okay, and my daughter has some health issues, and anyway, it was the 4th of July. We went down, we were looking at sinkholes. My son came in and everything. So he says, "What's that gray stuff there?" And I said, "I don't know." He said, "It doesn't look like it's dirt. It doesn't look like regular mud." So we took some of it out, put it in a cup. I handed it to a pipeliner, and he says, "Look," he goes, "Oh, look," he goes, "you have drilling mud." I never asked him what it was. Okay. I followed Cabot up the dirt road one day, and I handed it to him, and I said, "Could you tell me what this is?" And he says, "It's mud." I said, "What kind of mud?" I said, "My children, I have 4 kids." I said, the mud never was gray, silvery, sticky, right, and he says, "I don't know." He says, "I don't know if it's drilling mud or not." He says, "I've only worked for Cabot for a year." So we went up to Cabot with this drilling mud, okay, and put it in front of Vince, and Vince didn't say, "What is that?" Vince said to me, "Where'd you get that?" Okay? But then he kept on telling me, "We didn't do it, we didn't do it, we didn't do it." I drove down to DEP in Williamsport with my daughter. We put this drilling mud in front of Jennifer Means. My daughter took some fresh spring water, right, and poured it in top of this mud, and it stirred it up, and it literally started bubbling and giving off a mist. We put a baggie over it. Jennifer Means pushed her chair away from the table up against the wall, right? And that my daughter, after it stopped, she said, she picked it up and she said, "You see these little fibers?" And that's what they are, the fibers. And she says, "Yeah." She goes, "Well, that's what they put in drilling mud to fracture the rock and hold the rock open." After she sent out, after the meeting with her, and that she said to me, "I will have a guy, I will have a team of people come out to your place." That was on a Tuesday. Wednesday morning, I had 5 guys out at my place. They were there until 1:30 in the afternoon. But I still get back after they did everything, okay, but they refused to take any of that drilling mud because the guy said to my daughter says, "I want you to take some of that," and he says, "Well, that's not dirt." My daughter says, "Yeah, I know, I want to know what's in it," and he didn't take any of it. And now Jennifer Means kindly doesn't recall the conversation. I have a letter, right, from DEP telling me that possibly my sinkholes are woodchuck holes. I have a statement, like I said, from the trapper, right, that's saying there's no way they're woodchuck holes. I contacted Geoscience Engineering. They were going to come out and look at my property and make sure that my house was structurally sound. And that was on a Thursday. And on a Tuesday, I get an email from Geoscience Engineering saying that I recant my offer. I went and I met with it. I did meet with one attorney and she was going to take the case and everything was going to be, she hired somebody else to work with her, and that they were at $300 an hour, and that, and we were going to definitely get this settled. And I go back with her for my second meeting. Well, now all of a sudden the meeting is, "We can't help you unless you can pay us $600 an hour. We need $15,000 in an escrow account. When that escrow account hits $8,000, you have to replenish it to 15. You have to always keep 15,000, right?" And she said to me that it would probably cost me anywhere from $60,000 to $70,000 to sue them, and all we could sue them for was the value of my property, which is $160,000, is what she's telling me. I can't replace my property. This is my home. This is all I have left of my late husband. This is all I have left to leave my children. And that the gentleman from Chief that came out and tested my water, he said to me, "Can I tell you what happened?" And I said, "I would be thrilled if someone could tell me what happened." And he told me the driller did it. Will he testify against that? No. Will I give you his name? No, because he's a young guy and he has a family, and all they'll do is they'll railroad him and he'll never work again. And that Gene Rickard, like I said, he was the DEP guy, and he came out to my house 3 or 4 times, and he insisted my ground was just settling. How does 7 acres of my ground settle? I mean, it's just not. I don't just have 3 sinkholes in my driveway. I have 2 trees that are sinking. I have another sinkhole starting down towards the bottom of my driveway. I can't drive through the back part of my driveway because the back part of my driveway has collapsed. It literally looks like a trench. I mean, you just nosedive into the ground. And I have a pool building that's falling apart, and now my home is falling apart. And all I get is, "We didn't do it."
Oh.
Somebody did something. The ground doesn't settle after 10 years, and not everything settles at one time. My late husband did all the excavation there, and I've been around excavation for over 25 years, and this is not settling.
I will, you know, what I can offer you, I can do is I can reach out to DEP and try and get a hold of them and see what we can do to get them re-engaged. You know, you could definitely go to your state representatives too and talk to them and see what they can do, if there's anything they can do with DEP to get them re-engaged.
DEP, as far as I'm concerned, Cabot has them in their pocket. Okay, if you do any kind of research whatsoever in that, okay, DEP expects the gas company to turn in any kind of accidents that they've had or anything like that, because they can't monitor all these gas wells. Okay, and that would be like putting a child in a candy store and saying, okay, if you touch the candy, now you call and tell me. You know, the DEP knows something happened there. They told me there was no such thing as sinkholes in Susquehanna County. I said, come see mine. Well, like I said, that first time it was a sinkhole, then it was a woodchuck hole, my ground's settling. How can I have 3 different water tests? Okay, I've gone to representative up here, right, in that, when it was Sandra Majors, when it first happened, and they sent DEP out, and like I said, all I get is a bunch of bull. But your ground's settling. My ground ain't settling, my house is falling apart, my building's falling in, somebody's going to get hurt. Not only is it affecting me, okay, and what they're doing is they're lying. Lennox Township, I live on Bartholomew Road in Lennox Township, across from Acre Lake. Okay, at the end of Bartholomew Road by 106, there's a hole there, a huge hole. Right as you turn onto the road on the left-hand side, I went to PennDOT and I told them about it, and they said, well, we'll have to contact, you know, the supervisor or whatever for that area, and I supposedly they did. There's not PennDOT cones there. There's 2 township orange cones there. They're not PennDOT cones. Fred Benson put those cones there. That ground just opened up, and that they'll try to tell you that it's from runoff. The hole is over 4 feet deep. I said to PennDOT, my concern is somebody's going to slide off 106 or a school bus or something, and that because the roads get icy, and the whole front end of somebody's car is going to be into that hole, right? Okay, last I guess it was August or September, and I came home, and there was a load of stone, big stone, dumped in the middle of Bartholomew Road. There was a GDS truck there with an excavator and our 3 township supervisors. And I went and got my camera, and I came back up to the end of the dirt road, and I said to Fred Benson, I said, you can't fix the sinkhole, you have a water problem, and it started on my property, and now that it's washed up my property, it's coming down the road, right? So Jim Taylor turned around, looked at Fred Benson, and he says, if you can't fix the sinkhole, do we just shut the job down? But, you know, and they'll tell you nothing's happening except for my property.
Well, I don't know who's telling you that, but that's not true. There's slides and sinkholes all over this county. So, I mean, we deal with them all the time. So.
Well, that was what DEP told me when
Well,
I called them.
if DEP's telling you there's nothing, then, you know, we can show them Route 29, Route 171, 167,
Sure.
92, 492, and many other ones where they're covered with slides and sinkholes. So there's all kinds of issues throughout the county. The question is, you know, what caused yours to take in and start to move after 10 years? So, you know, actually, you know, DEP needs to bring a geologist out and take a look at it to see what's going on. And so, you know, the best I can do is to contact DEP for you and try and get them back out there to take and re-engage to see what's going on.
And I appreciate that. Yeah, I had gone to Cabot. I had tried working this out with them. I said, just come up and tell me what happened, or I need to know that I'm safe. That's my biggest. That's my biggest fear. You know, like I said, I have 22 piers underneath me, and my piers at the end of my trailer by my master bedroom is starting to tip, and they're all in line with these 3 sinkholes, and these 3 sinkholes are only 10 feet from my 800-foot water well. You know, and how do I fix it? You know, and who's responsible to help me fix it? You know, none of this happened until after they drilled that well. They tell me I'm 4,811 feet from that well site. Okay, but I can drive it with my car, right, from my wellhead to their gas wellhead, right, is only 5,200 feet. Well, the way the crow flies, there's no way I could be 4,811 feet. That wouldn't make sense. You know, common sense math would tell you, you know, and that, you know, the way the crow flies is a lot shorter.
Okay. I'll make a call to DEP, we'll see what we can do.
And I appreciate that. You know, like I said, I didn't mean to bother you, I just wanted, I need somebody to help me.
Okay, let's see what we can do.
Thank you.
Anything else before we move on? All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we now go to the salary board. All right, salary board, it's 9:30. Item 1.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of the November 22nd salary board?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Arnold, second by Commissioner Warren, approve the minutes of the November 22nd meeting. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item number 2.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 2 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, to approve item 2, set the salary increases for non-union, non-elected employee salaries for 2018 at an increase of 2%. Questions?